My name is Mike Sheil. I was in the Marine Corps, 1970 to 1974. I extended for a couple months because my second child was coming due, and to get the government to pay for it, I need to make sure that I was still on my current enlistment. So, of course, we're well aware that children are supposed to come within 9 months, but that's never a guarantee. So, hence, I got out 3 months later than what my initial enlistment was for.
Why did you join the Marine Corps?
Well, that's a good question, Matt. Even at 18 years old, I guess I felt it was a duty, even though I wasn't totally unfair. You know, if you're well aware that in those years, the Vietnam War was going on, and I wasn't totally concurrent with the belief in why we were in Vietnam, but I thought it was my duty as an American to serve.
Where were you stationed?
Most of the time I was stationed in California. I did my boot camp in California, and of course the one thing I didn't want to do was go to school, and that's why I went in the service, as opposed to, I had about a dozen offers for college, and I knew I wasn't going to study much, so hence I was thrown right into school because I did well on my entrance tests.
What was your training like?
I'm assuming you're talking the training as a Marine as opposed to my military occupational specialty. Well, it was a little bit easier than I had even envisioned it being, although they did work our tails off, and we had a lot of running, a lot of exercises, and maybe a lot of physical abuse at that time, even though it wasn't sanctioned by the Marine Corps. So,
do you have any stories or events that really impacted your life?
Oh, you know, I really kind of led a pretty mundane life as far as the Marines go. I did not see any service in Vietnam, which was probably for the better, because I do believe in interacting with people that have gone to a battlefront over their lives, that it impacts us as human beings. You know, things transpire that a human being should never have to experience. So really, I didn't have anything special.
Did you meet anybody that impacted you while you were in service?
Oh, I'm sure my instructors did, especially my drill instructors in both boot camp and ITR, which was infantry training, because all Marines are, besides especially MOS, they're all basically riflemen first. So,
how did you feel when you came home?
Kind of the same as I did for the 4 years that I was in. I was a little apprehensive in wearing my uniform, even though I got married when I was in the service, and I was adamant that I was going to wear my uniform, because one of the reasons I joined the Marine Corps, they had the best looking uniforms in life at that time. So, but I really felt kind of left out, being there was so many protests going on about the war. And of course, a person in uniform automatically is stereotyped as believing in it. So,
did your service influence your career later in life?
Not really. I spent 3 years in electronic schools, and that was the one thing I was pretty well sure that I did not want to do, although it did help me wire, 3 or 4 houses after I got out, and things on the farm. But I didn't utilize the schooling that I had to the extent of what they gave me.
Was your life changed by the experience?
Oh, by far. Of course, being a farm boy from Iowa, we experienced stuff that was eye-opening from day one, because we got to the airport the day that we first arrived, and here's this, what I thought at that time was an old man saying about every 4-letter word that you could imagine to us, and we went on from there. There was a woman that was breastfeeding her child in the airport when we got there. Of course, I'd never experienced that, from Iowa, so We always think the grass is greener on the other side of the street, and come to find out after 4 years, hey, it wasn't so bad back home.